Was it petty for the Indian foreign minister to make those comments? He made it in a press conference a day after the 2+2 joint statement. What did you think? Was it petty, or was he fully within his rights to say, look, we've got our views as well?
See, I think the way US behaved in a joint press conference, not having discussed the human rights during the meeting with External Affairs Ministers, was absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
And I think those days when US could pontificate and tell the world what to do without doing it themselves are gone. So if you are going to point fingers at others, the fingers are going to be pointed at you. Whatever be the case, whatever be their issues, they could have discussed it within closed doors, but talking about it in a joint press conference after they have discussed, sat for hours together, discussed issues where human rights did not come up. Now, to make a statement like this, it was absolutely nasty. And I think EAM gave them a very, very befitting reply. And that's where I differ. EAM may have become a politician, but he's primarily a diplomat.
Yeah.
And he knows how to choose his words. His comments were extremely nuanced on both the issues that you're talking about. When people said that you are continuing to import energy from Russia, I think his statement that what we have imported in a month, you should look at Europe because Europe imports that in one afternoon. I think was a very, very significant statement. And again, on human rights, in a country where 6 have been attacked just yesterday, he said, and of course, we have seen there is gun attacks, gun lobbies, there are different issues. We had Black Lives Matters in last year or so. So we have seen large number of human rights violations even in US. And while US government is not responsible for them, and similarly, if at all there has been any issue on which US had objections, they could have discussed it with the Indian government officials, closed doors. And of course, it's not the responsibility of the government of India. And I think the US needs to understand that India will never be an ally which cannot say no. And I think that fact they need to understand. I think there is a lot of unease in US because India has chosen to pursue an independent path as far as Russia-Ukraine war is concerned. And that has, I think, created certain concerns in US. And I think that frustration is coming out in this sort of statements that came out during the joint press conference.
Jeff, do you think any of this has a bearing on the larger India-US relationship? You know, it is a shape-shifting time. India's neutrality on Russia-Ukraine has been a very clear source of irritation, for the West. For the United States in particular. We saw what the deputy NSA had said openly, comments that it should have been made behind closed doors, as with the case with Secretary Blinken as well. I don't think it has a larger bearing on the relationship. This is a very deep relationship, like you also rightly said. There were many big substantive takeaways from the 2+2 dialogue. But is this something to worry about, that leaders from both sides are having a go, as it were, at each other in incident after incident, and they've been coming thick and fast?
I don't think it's something to worry about in the long term in the broader relationship. I can tell you there won't be a backlash here to Jaishankar's remarks. I think they've been understood and accepted that India shared its perspective and it has concerns about the situation here. And then we move on and begin talking about more productive. I mean, the reality is this has been an issue for as long as I've watched India. Indian public, Indian officials and experts have been perturbed anytime U.S. officials raise this question of human rights in India. They see it as interference in their domestic affairs. I mean, to be frank, this happens every year, almost every month. It's not a new thing for U.S. officials to voice these concerns. And frankly, it's not confined just to India. They voiced concerns about the human rights situation in the Philippines. They voiced concerns about Israeli settlements in the West Bank. I mean, this is sort of the liberal ethos of U.S. foreign policy, is to be this champion and guardian of human rights across the world, even if that means sort of just mentioning it in joint, saying that we're monitoring the situation. That's the reality of it. I mean, India learn to accept this, and even though it's irritated with it, and at times
I'm coming to you, Mr. Kachar.
That has not prevented the development of the bilateral relationship, even at this meeting where it's been an issue, and it has been an issue, I think, of growing discomfort for India There's a sense that, yes, you used to lecture to us, but we're not going to take it anymore.
Exactly.
And it
there
has
is that
been,
sense. There is that sense.